Da er dere klare til neste mann. Når vi har fått besøk fra Sverige i dag, av Håkan Ramberg. Han er CEO i Knowit i Malmö. Jeg tenker han kan få lov til å presentere seg enda litt mer selv, men jeg vil bare si et av hans motto. If you don't grow, you decay. Altså, hvis ikke du vokser, så forfaller du. Så da ønsker jeg deg velkommen og vær så god.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me back there? Yeah? Can you see me as well? Great, great. You never know. So, are you enjoying the conference so far? Yeah, good to hear. I hope I won't change that then. I want to talk to you about a topic that I feel is getting far too little attention in the testing community today. Yet it's so important that if you neglect this area, it doesn't really matter how skilled you are in other areas of testing, because you will still fail. And I'm going to start with telling you why do companies really invest in testing in the first place. And then I'm going to give you 3 mantras to live by in order to become a bit more business-minded. And by following these examples or steps, I'm sure that you can go from, as a tester, you can go from become an important player in a team or project to become an exceptional, valuable member to your entire organization. So that's my goal today. Sounds okay? Great. Whoops. My name is Håkan Ramberg. I'm the managing director of Knowit in Malmö, Sweden. My background is that I've been working as a tester and test manager for several projects for the last 11 years. But the last 6 or 7 years I've been going more and more into the business development domain and more into sales and marketing, which means that basically I go out and talk to companies and ask them about their challenges around testing. And when I've done this, I've always had the client's business in mind. And by doing this, we have been quite successful, actually. And I want to tell you basically how I've done that and give you some examples. So much of this information I will present today are from several hundreds of client meetings I've had basically around in the Nordics. But I want to start off with a story, and it's a true story. It was a tester who was working for a client for a big international company, and this company, they wanted to release their new website, public website. And when the tester were testing around, he noticed that, wait a minute, the company logo isn't, the colors a little bit strange. So I represent it here with the Knowit logo. So the logo A is the correct one, and logo B is the incorrect one, a little bit more bluish than the correct one. And the tester found this, and he went into the bug tracking system to report it. But then he was thinking about, okay, what kind of severity should I put this? So I want to ask you here in this room now, how many here believe that this bug is a critical bug? Hands up. Yeah? And how many of you would put this as a minor bug? Hands up. Yeah? Quite equal, actually. Interesting. What he did was that he put this as a minor bug because he felt that, well, this is it's a so simple thing to fix, so yeah, I put it as a minor defect here. The thing was that this was a project that was so tight, so the developers only had time to fix the critical and major bugs. So they didn't fix this. And when the project was closing in on the release date, suddenly the business owner noticed this, and said, "Hey, what's this?" And when he heard that the project had knew about this but didn't fix it, he was furious, because from his perspective, this is a critical bug. This was a showstopper for the entire project, and this was due to trademark issues. So from his perspective, you cannot have a company logo with the incorrect colors. So the thing here is that even if, let's say, from a technical perspective, this is a very simple bug, from a business perspective, this is a critical bug. So it can change. It can be vary depending on the focus you have. Anyone here familiar with the T-shaped competence model? No? It's basically a metaphor used in recruitment. So you can visualize a person's skills with this in the shape of a T, where you have a breadth of knowledge within several different areas, and you have the depth of expertise where you're really skilled at. And you can do this for testers as well, and it could be like breadth of knowledge. Yeah, you have communication skills, you have the skills to find defects, and where the depth of expertise could be something like, I'm really skilled at test automation or performance testing, for example. And I don't like this model, actually, because what happens is that, many people are focusing on some kind of the technical part here to improve their skills in test automation or performance testing or managing teams in an R&D environment. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but this model suggests that one expertise area is enough, and that's I would like to interfere with. So I want to introduce to you the pie-shaped competence model, because I say that it doesn't really matter how skilled you are in the technical area. If you have no understanding about the business you're in and why you're doing it, there's a high risk that you will build solutions that no one cares about. And so I think you should focus on understanding the business at least as much as you are focusing on developing your technical skills as a tester. And I will come back to this model later on as well. But let's take a step back first to understand what is a company really about? What is a business really about? And in order to do so, I looked it up in Wikipedia, and here you can see the definition. A company is a collection of individuals with a common purpose to focus their various talents, skills, or resources to achieve specific declared goals. And it continues by saying that a company could have either of these forms. So I want to ask you here again, how many in this room are primarily working in a company that is a voluntary association? Hands up. A group of soldiers? No? Maybe someone working with financial entities and banks? Yeah? And that's good, because everything in this presentation, from a company perspective and from a definition, it might be different. But from this presentation, it's the same. Everything applies also to you. But the majority here belongs to a company who is a business entity with the aim of gaining a profit, right? And what I think is really interesting here is that already in the definition, we are saying that the goal of the company is the aim of gaining a profit. And yeah, what is profit then? Yeah, it's money in minus money out. And it can be several different things. And every time I talk about testers about this, that what you're doing is about making profit for the company, always there is someone arguing and saying, no, that's not true. In my company, we don't think like that. We believe that quality is important. And I mean, yeah, that's cute, because I don't believe them, because I say that, I always ask them, why is quality important? Because I say that quality in itself is not important unless it leads to the aim of gaining a profit. And I'm not saying that you should cram out as much as you can from the company short term and maximize profitability short term. But I'm saying that you need to look, from a company perspective, you need to look at it long term and maximize profitability to focus on that long term, because that's basically what our owners ask from us. Whether it be on the stock exchange, your company is on the stock market or not. And the same thing goes for testing. I mean, nobody wants to pay for testing unless they think it will lead to more money in or less money out. And more money in, that could be, yeah, by investing in testing, we believe that we will be able to identify a certain quality level that will maximize the number of sold units. Or by investing in testing, we believe we will be able to deliver or ship faster than we are doing without it. Or we believe that it will, by investing in testing, we will actually save money because it will reduce the cost of operations and maintenance, or the number of support errands. So it's one of the reasons here. So now we'll set the foundation here, and I'm going to give you 3 mantras in order to become more business-minded. And the first one is to really understand your business. What do I mean by that? You need to understand what's your company's core values. And all too often I meet companies and managers at companies and I ask them this question. They say, our core values, they are somewhere on the website, I guess. And I mean, that's totally out of whack, because the core values, that's your identity as a company. That's your promise to the market. And if you're working as a tester in an organization, you must test if your product or service that you're working with, is it in line with the core values? Because if they are conflicting with your core values, then you have a serious problem in trust, and that totally affects the brand value. You need to understand how the company is earning money. Is it a business-to-business, business-to-consumer? Is it through licensing, retailers, distributors? How does this work? Can take an example, Sony Mobile, who manufactures mobile phones. They earn money through their operators. So their main customers are operators. I mean, of course, if me as end user don't like their phones, I won't buy the phones from the operators, and then the operators won't buy the phones from Sony anymore. But still, Sony must focus to make their operators look good in front of their end users. So this is really a big difference. Distinctive competence. What's that? Let's say Volvo cars. They have the competence to build cars. But I mean, that's so many other companies have this competence. But Volvo's distinctive competence is that they build the safe car. And everything you do in Volvo should amplify this distinctive competence. So if you're working as a tester at Volvo, you should ask yourself, is this really amplifying the safe car for Volvo? And if it's not, if you're doing products or services that is not doing this, sooner or later someone else will go and take this position from you. So this is really important from a positioning perspective. We can take another example. McDonald's. What business is McDonald's in? And I'm saying they're not in the hamburger business. I see it from two perspectives. The first one, you can take a look at McDonald's Group. And I would say they are a real estate company. Because what McDonald's Group does is that they buy land in attractive areas, they build these restaurants, and they find franchisees to run them. So what will make McDonald's Group successful is how well they find these spots of lands and find the right people to run them. That's what will make McDonald's Group successful. But we can also look at it from another side, from this specific restaurant perspective. What kind of business are they in? You can think about, if you were a tester here, how would you go about to test whether this is a good store or not, or a good restaurant or not? I mean, you could test for quality, right? But I'm quite sure you would be quite sad and maybe stop the deliveries over and over again. And I mean, because I mean, how many here in this room believes they can do better quality hamburgers than McDonald's and so? I mean, that is not what will make this restaurant successful. If I were a tester at this specific restaurant, I would measure the time it takes from where a client places the order until the client receives the order. Because what will make this specific restaurant successful is how well they serve good enough quality food at a fast pace and at a decent price. And actually, I was giving this talk yesterday at another conference, and then there was a woman in the audience who had been working at McDonald's, and they say that, and she told me later that this is actually how they measure success at McDonald's. They have a KPI for how fast they can deliver food. So this is real. The second mantra is to really understand your market. You need to understand what is your company's market position. Are you the market leader? Are you the competitor? Are you the low-cost option? Or what kind of position do you have today? And what kind of market position are you striving for? Because this significantly affects how you communicate to the market via your product or services. So if you are a tester and working in a company, you should ask yourself, is this product or service communicating in the appropriate way, depending on where we are going? You need to understand who is your competition. And this is not always as straightforward as you may think. I mean, there are probably companies that are producing the similar things that you are doing, but it's not seen as a competitor. We can take Accenture, for example, big consultancy company. They don't really see smaller consultancy companies as a competition, even if they are doing similar things. But there is also the possibility that you have competition with companies that are not in your current market and doing completely something different. And one example of that, I would say, is cinemas. Because the problem cinemas have today is not the competition from other cinemas. Their main competition today is the home electronic chains that today sell projectors, hi-fi equipment at a low price that soon everyone can have their own cinema at home. So in order for cinemas to survive long term, they really need to find something to differentiate. You need to understand who are your buyer personas. And I know in the testing community we are often talking about target audience. And that's not necessarily the same thing as buyer personas. And as an example, there is a mobile phone manufacturer called Doro that produce mobile phones especially assigned for senior people. And what Doro, they have identified their target audience. I mean, you can, if you think of yourself in this situation working at Doro, you can think, okay, senior people, yeah. Okay, now I should test this mobile phone, and I'm Ingrid, 70 years old. I take the persona of Ingrid. She has never used a mobile phone in her life. How would she go about to use this product? And I mean, Doro have this as a target audience as well, but they also have identified more than 15 other target personas for their products. All the way from Ingrid, 70 years old, have never used a mobile phone in her life, all the way to Tore, 60 years old, who always have been in the front line of technology, really wanted the latest Apple phone, but his hearing or seeing capabilities does not serve him that well. So I mean, they have identified these target audience, but their buyer personas are, for these products, are very usually their children or grandchildren of the target audience. So in order for Doro to be successful, they really need to attract not only the target audience, but the buyer personas. We have talked about to understand your business and understand your market. So we have only talked about the business right now. First, here in the third mantra, we are talking about the actual product that we are testing. So you also need to understand the business value of the product under test. And you should think of, as a tester, what is the problem that this product or service should solve? And I mean, if possible, stop guessing, get out on the street, ask people, drag people into the office and let them try the stuff you're working with. Because you need to understand if you really, are you really solving a problem, or are you just building a solution that no one cares about? That's a big difference. And if you do, you want to know that quite early in the development cycle. You need to understand, how does a company earn profit from this specific product? Is it the profit maker of the company, or is it a byproduct that should amplify sales for other products in the company? Or is it just complementing a portfolio? We can take Amazon Kindle, for example. The Amazon Kindle is a very low profit product. I would say we probably don't earn anything on that. But what the Kindle does is that it amplifies the user experience within reading books, so it amplifies sales for books, buying books at Amazon, which is a really high profit business. And this also differs if you're testing the tester in this. If you're testing Kindle or if you're testing their website, you should have completely different focus. So I would like to urge you all here to really question the business value in the same way as you today are questioning the product on the test. Because that is basically what you're doing as a tester. But don't forget the business. Here's another example. What's the business value of cosmetics or makeup? And how come people pay top dollars for this? The owner of L'Oreal once said, in the factories we make cosmetics, in the drugstores we sell hope. And that is basically why people are buying this stuff. What they perceive they will get from using it. So quite often actually the business value is not the same as a, say, logical value. So you need to consider that as well. And yet, then you can ask yourself, why me? Why always test? Always when something new comes up, it's me as a tester that should do it. I have enough on my plate already. And I will tell you why. If you look at the project, you find people with either one of these two focuses. You find people who are focused on building the right thing, and you have people focused on building the thing right. And very often we find that business owners are concerned about building the right thing because they have identified a need in the market where they want to provide their target group with a cool product that solves their problems. Whereas in the building the thing right is more concerned about, for example, an R&D department, because they have the specifications, they have got the requests that this is what we should build, and we should build it like this, follow these, and everything will be fine. And sometimes there can be a quite long distance between these groups, and sometimes they in some companies they don't even talk to each other, and that is a big risk. So I would say that as a tester you can bridge this gap, because you have all the contacts with you need to have contact with the business, and you have already contacts in the R&D department. Quite often testers are in the R&D department, and you can also think that, okay, but hey, I'm an engineer. I've been studying for 5 years. I'm a technical guy. That's what I like. Here's where I should focus on that. And I mean, you could do that, and you can think that, yeah, leave the business to the salespeople or the managers. That's not my problem. And of course, you can run the company like that. But I would like to compare it with driving a car. I mean, you could drive a car where one is controlling the throttle and the other one is steering. But it's much more efficient if both guys in the car knows how to do both. So try to, and it's not complicated. People always think that it's the business is so complicated. No, it's not. I mean, give it a chance and try, and you'll see for yourself. And I also think that we as testers have a really unique position in doing this, because we have the product overview, we know what works and what does not work with the current product or service, and we have the understanding how it works under the hood. And also we have a close collaboration with the business owner, product owners, the tech people, and other stakeholders in the project. So we need to help them talk to each other, and this I would say that testers are really good at, the ones who do it. So to sum up, we have talked about 3 mantras: to really understand your business, to really understand your market, and to really understand the business value of the product under test. And I mean, both mantra 1 and 2 is only concerned about the business. So if you're working for a company, you have almost do this once and you don't have to do it again, basically. It's quite easy to extend this business leg. And the third mantra, to really understand the business value of the product on the test. I mean, also notice that this is sequential. I mean, if you don't understand what business you're in, you won't be able to tell what market you're in. And if you don't understand what business or market that you're in, you will have no idea whether or not your product produces any business value or not. And what can we expect if we follow this? More profit, and that's what we want, right? I mean, if we learn how to prioritize questioning what is really important, not only from a technical perspective, but also from a business perspective, we will be able to generate ideas to improve the product or service that we are working in. And by doing this, we will increase the chance of a successful project. And if we are doing lots of successful projects, we will increase the chance of working in a successful organization. And if you, as a tester, contribute to making a successful organization, you will become an exceptional, valuable member, not only to your team or project, but to the entire organization. I want to leave you with this. There's an English saying, a pig with a hat is still a pig. And all too often I see testers trying to make sure that the product are following specification, that the pig is following specification, and dresses it up with a fancy hat of high quality. And I mean, you don't want to be part of poor projects, even if they are of high quality or not. You want to be part of successful projects. And by following these tips, I really think that you will go from, can go out from the masses. You will stick out as a tester by questioning these things. And this will make you very, very important to the organization. So I wish you the best of luck with doing this. Thank you.
Veldig interessant, Håkan. Spørsmål?
A lot of wise words, thank you for that. But some practical advice on how do we persuade the business to listen to us?
Very good question. One concrete tip is that, I'm working in the consultancy business. So what I'm doing is that when I work with a client, I always buy a share in this client in the company, because this gives me information about the business. So go and read the quarterly reports, the annual reports, because here you can learn a lot about what the business is all about, and by doing this, you can use the information in here to ask really clever questions to the managers that they have no idea about, but they know they should know about it. And that is really, that opens up the conversation in a really good way. And I actually think, because it's important to talk to people in the terms that they are used to talk to. I mean, you cannot, as a tester, come to a CTO or CEO and saying, hey, my tests fail, I'm upset. And he will say, okay. I mean, But if you instead say that I found defects here that I believe will significantly affect sales, then suddenly you have a completely different discussion with this guy. So, yeah, take information available and talk to the guys in their own language. I guess it's a tip.
Andre spørsmål?
Ja.
Gave for data.